Acharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Shruti-smriti-purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-pada-shankaram Loka-shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra-bhashya-kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah-punah Om Harihi Om Tat-sat Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Let us start from 40.
45.
45 finished? Yeah, I think, okay.
I don't know if it's finished.
No, okay. Anyway, for me, I teach the same thing everywhere, so you don't miss anything. So Gaudapada Acharya, in this 4th chapter entitled as Alaka Shanti Prakaranam, refutes Sankhya philosopher, thereby he refuted all other Nastika philosophers. Then he refutes the Bauddha philosopher, Yogachara, Bauddha, thereby he refuted. Come baby, come. He refuted all other Astika philosophers. So refutation of other philosophers is presented until this 28th, 9th Karika. Afterwards, he represents the same teaching of the Mandukya Upanishad given in the 2nd chapter from 29th to the 46th Karika. We are in the 45th Karika. And in that, what is the main teaching here? You can reduce the whole Mandukya teaching to one line. I've been repeating this. I, the self, am the whole. I am the whole. When you say I am the whole, it implies there is no individual other than the truth. There is no universe other than the truth. There is no creation other than the truth. There is no creator, the Lord, other than the truth. There is no created universe other than the truth. So, in the very beginning itself, we understood Jiva, Ishvara, Jagad, Swarupa, Aikya, Jnanam. You understand the truth of the Jiva, the individual, the truth of the Jagat, the universe, truth of the Lord, the Ishvara. Jiva, Jagad, Ishvara, Swarupa, Aikya, Jnanam. You understand there is no Ishvara, Jagat or individual. These differences, Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara differences is only empirically real, relatively real. It is not unreal, but absolutely they are all not real. Absolutely, Brahman is the only reality. Absolute reality is Brahma, Paramarthikam Satyam Brahmaiva. And that Brahman, the reality implied by the word Brahman or Atma is nothing but Chaitanyam, the consciousness, otherwise called Chit, the consciousness. There is no existence other than the consciousness. And that consciousness, I am the consciousness. Therefore, everything is consciousness. Therefore, I am the whole. Aham idam sarvam. aham idam sarvam. When you say that, you see, when you say aham idam sarvam, your I has been shifted intellectually from the tiny little body, mind, sense complex to the inexplicably, isn't it, all pervasive consciousness. This shift is not an ordinary shift, isn't it? Biggest leap. This is the Sara of the Mandukya. So to arrive at this, to assimilate this, to ascertain this, even though Atma Swarupam being consciousness is discussed in the very first chapter as how, the experiencer obtaining in the waking as Vishwaha, the experiencer obtaining in the dream as Taijasaha, the experiencer obtaining in deep sleep state as Prajnaha is none other than consciousness, which is Turiya Chaitanyam. The Turiyaha consciousness, the Atma, is implied by the word Turiya because not the state. Turiyam is not a state of mind. Turiyam is the implied word, implying word, like how Atma implies the consciousness. The Atma is not a word directly indicating consciousness. Atma or Brahman, even Nityaha, Shuddhaha, etc., each word implies, reveals the reality in terms of its Swarupam. Similarly, the word Turiyaha also is another word implying the nature of reality. Why? Because Turiyaha means fourth, and how consciousness is available for recognition. Like the fourth person, one who obtains in all three states of experience, as the experiencer of each state of experience, one who obtains is the consciousness. Therefore, the consciousness is implied by the word Turiyaha. Turiyaha is equal to consciousness. Atma is equal to consciousness. Brahman is equal to consciousness. Nityaha is equal to consciousness. Buddhaha is equal to consciousness. Shuddhaha is equal to consciousness. Advaitaha is equal to consciousness. Advitiyaha is equal to consciousness. Each word implies what? Doesn't indicate like mic, book. No. It implies the Swarupam, how consciousness is, nature of the reality. Therefore, first chapter reveals the Atma, the absolute reality, Paramarthikam Satyam, the consciousness, which is the existence. There is no meaning of the word existence. If you take the existence as a pure noun, what does the word existence mean? You always understand the word existence only in association with a given Namarupa. If you minus Namarupa, existence has to be resolved only in consciousness. So Chit is Sat and Sat is the Chit. They are not two. The consciousness is existence, existence is consciousness. And therefore here we say, what about this Jagat then? That is why the second chapter negates this Jagat, refutes this Jagat, negates this Jagat as Mithya, non-reality. It is not unreal, it is negated as non-real. Why? Because it is relatively real, it is empirically real, and this, it is not absolutely real because it is not there always. Even though this waking universe is available for experience, even though the objects obtaining in the waking universe serve the purpose, they are of usefulness, they serve, there is utility of the objects, still, even though there is a beautiful, the order involved in the existence of all the beings, amazingly wonderful order is involved in the existence of the beings, still this waking universe is mithya. It is as good as non-existent. Why? Because it does not enjoy, does not have existence of its own independently. And then for which it is like the example is given how this waking universe is mithya, and here the Acharya uses the dream experience. Dream experience is taken as an example to negate this waking universe as mithya. This waking universe is mithya like the dream universe, because what is the qualification for it to be mithya? Because it is experienced. What makes the waking universe enjoy the status of being mithya? Why do you say it mithya? Because it is experienced. Why? You have to remember the definition of Satyam. Satyam is that which is not an object, that which is not available for objectification, that which is non-imperceptible, non-objectifiable, and therefore non-experienceable is Satyam. Therefore, anything experienced is not the Satyam. Got it? Now we say this universe is mithya because it is experienced like the dream. You have to remember this sentence. I told you many times. Jagrat prapanchaha mithya drishyatvat swapna prapanchavat. Like the dream universe, this waking universe is mithya due to its experienceability, because of its availability for experience and objectification. This we understand. Now, so here in these verses, he also first establishes, first of all, even though dream is experienced, dream objects are useful in the dream, and the dream differences are there, experiences are there, the dream objects are useful in dream. The dream objects also exist within the realm of a given order there, and then still what? Dream is mithya, and it's subjectively real. It is not unreal. Dream is not unreal, tucham. It is subjectively real. That's why we call it pratibhasikam satyam. Whereas waking is what? Objectively real, not subjectively real, isn't it? Therefore, objectively real waking universe is called vyavaharikam satyam. It is relatively, empirically, objectively real. Whereas dream is subjectively real, relatively real. It's real only for the Taijasa. This waking is real only for the Vishwa. It is not there for other experiences. Therefore, we say what is absolutely real is the very consciousness obtaining as the very swarupam of the experiencer obtaining in dream, waking and deep sleep state. So, Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, Swarupam is consciousness. Therefore, these titles change: experiencer of the mic, experiencer of the camera, illuminator of the mic, illuminator of the camera, illuminator of that sofa means illuminator is the same, but illuminator of what is different. Similarly, Vishwaha is a knower, experiencer of the waking universe. Taijasaha, experiencer of the dream. Pragya, experiencer of the deep sleep state. But who is the experiencer? One and the same experiencer. The experiencer is only a status temporarily attributed to the consciousness in keeping with the object available for experience. Therefore, Jagrat, waking universe's dream is mithya, waking is also mithya like the dream, because of its being available for experience. So, using the dream example, Gaudapada Acharya negated this Jagrat Prapanchaha as mithya. Mithya means it is not there. As good as non-existent. What is there now? What is there is only Brahma. Okay? Therefore, there is no cause, there is no effect. Therefore, there is no karya karana sambandha, there is no creation. You have to understand there is no creation. When you understand there is no effect, there is no cause. When you understand there is no creation, and many of your questions should resolve. What are the questions? When did the universe begin? Where did it come from? Where does it go back to? All these questions will resolve. Only if you accept, first of all, there is universe, then you can ask all these questions. You have negated what? There is no universe. Absolutely. There is no creation. There is no effect. There is no cause. What is now? Karya Karana Vilakshanam Brahma Chaitanyam. The pure consciousness, which is the pure existence, which is of the nature of limitlessness, which is distinct from the cause and effect, distinct from the world. That alone is. And I am the consciousness, therefore I am the whole. Okay? This is the teaching. Now, Gaudapada Acharya is going to continue the same teaching. Okay, let us finish this 45th verse. I really want to do something interesting today. Let us try to do something. Jatyabhasam chalabhasam Jatyabhasam chalabhasam Vastvabhasam tathaiva cha Vastvabhasam tathaiva cha Ajachalamavastutvam Ajachalamavastutvam Vijnanam shantamadvayam Vijnanam shantamadvayam. Here he talks about the abhasaha. Abhasaha means appearance. Abhasaha, appearance. Like wave is the abhasa of the water. Appearance of the water. Here jati abhasaha means there is appearance of the creation, origination. Chala abhasaha, appearance of the motion, movement. Movement means going back, returning. Then vastu abhasaha means appearance of the existence. See, we all see how do the waves appear. Waves appear as though they originate, as though they exist, and as though they resolve. Not as though. There is appearance of the coming into existence of the waves. There is appearance of the existence of the waves. There is appearance of the waves going back and resolving. It appears. There is appearance of the origination, existence and dissolution. Creation, existence and dissolution. We say srishtihi, sthitihi, layaha. Something comes into existence, it grows, it is there and it falls. We see that. We see the seed, how real it is for us. The seed is there and the seed, gets soaked in the water, bulges, sprout comes, grows, becomes a big plant and exists for some time, yielding fruits and things, and suddenly after many years falls, goes. Of course, contributing abundantly for reproduction of its species, it disappears. We see the creation, we see the origination, we see the existence, we do see the resolution of many things. The best example is, you can take this waves. Waves appear. Waves, we keep on watching, there's no wave. and wave comes, and wave is there. Waves exist and wave goes back. It's called what? Jati abhasaha, vastu abhasaha, chala abhasaha. Appearance of the creation, appearance of the existence, appearance of the resolution or dissolution. Tathevacha. In fact, if we analyze closely, what will we understand? There is no creation of the wave, origination of the wave. There is no dissolution of the wave. There is no existence of the wave also. You have to say there is no existence of the wave also. Why? Because existence of the wave belongs to water. Hope you are following very closely. Existence, the easiness of the wave is actually the easiness of the existence of the water. There is no wave independently. There's no wave, there's no creation. What is then? What can you call then? It is only a seeming motion in water. Okay? The creation, the appearance of the creation, appearance of the existence, appearance of the resolution of the waves, because we are experiencing the creation, existence and resolution. What we are experiencing is only appearance of water in motion. There is no real creation. There is no real existence. When there is no motion in water, what is then? No wave. There is stillness. In stillness of water, no wave. Understand? In stillness of water, there is no wave. Why? Because I cannot talk about the creation or the existence or the resolution of the waves, because minus water, there won't be something called a wave at all. Therefore, how can you talk about the jati abhasa, sthiti vastu abhasa, or chala abhasa? Coming into existence is called jati abhasaha. Existence of the wave, existence is called vastu abhasaha. And chala abhasaha means it's going back. Understand? Your wave itself is not there. Where is the question of their coming, their existence and their going? They're not there. It appears means the appearance is only of the motion in what? Water. What is only water. Similarly, what he says, it appears because we're experiencing. The problem with this is we're experiencing. We're experiencing what? As though the universe originates. All the objects come into existence and the objects continue to exist. There's length, there is a time within the realm of which the objects exist, enjoy existence, and they also go back. Similarly, there is a srishtihi, it appears, only appearance. Creation of the universe, if at all you want to talk about, the creation of universe is only like an appearance, is as good an appearance as of the creation of the wave. And the existence of the universe is as good existence of the wave. And similarly, dissolution of this universe also is as good an as good resolution of the wave. There is no creation of the wave, it's only appearance. Creation of the universe, existence of the universe, there is no, universe does not come, does not go. Why? Because universe does not exist. Something must be there for it to come and for it to go. There is no creation, there is no srishtihi, there is no layaha. There is no origination, there is no dissolution. Because there is no existence. Why? Because existence of the universe belongs to the consciousness. The isness, when you say the universe is, the isness, the existence enjoyed by the cosmos belongs to consciousness. In fact, even though I use the term it belongs to, as though it's something belonging, really speaking, existence is consciousness. Belonging, the word, Swamiji is very careful. We shouldn't use any word which causes any ambiguity, because belongs to me, again what? Consciousness is sitting and belongs to existence. No. What I want to say is, there is no existence for the universe other than consciousness. Therefore, minus consciousness, universe will be exactly like the wave minus water. Remove the clay, what will be the pot? The same is the universe minus consciousness, the reality. Therefore, if you ask this question, I do experience the origination of the wave, existence of the wave, dancing of the wave, and going away of the wave, how can you say no if you say we are not denying your perception and experience? We say this is only an appearance of what? Seeming motion in the water. Similarly, the seeming creation, seeming existence, seeming dissolution is only an appearance of what? Consciousness. The seeming motion. Consciousness in seeming motion. Because the consciousness does not move. Isn't it? There's a seeming motion. What is that seeming motion? We yet to understand. We'll see that. Okay? I'll tell you. Only abhasaha. That's what this verse says. What is that then? Aja, achalam, avastutvam. Aja, achalam. Aja, achalam means what? Aja means the unborn. The Aja always implies what? Consciousness being not the cause. Okay? Consciousness, which is neither the cause nor the effect, does not originate, does not disappear. Achalam means what? Unmoving. Consciousness is of the nature of, is unmoving, of the nature of changelessness, motionlessness. Why consciousness is of the nature of motionlessness? We call in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna uses the term sthanuhu in 2nd chapter. Achalaha, unmoving, immovable, because it is all pervasive. All pervasiveness is the very Swarupam. We don't even know where the space begins, and the very space is pervaded by consciousness means. That's what I'm saying. There's no space outside of awareness, consciousness. Therefore, due to its all pervasiveness, it is of the nature of motionlessness. What determines the motionlessness of consciousness? All pervasiveness. All pervasiveness determines what? Its timelessness. Timelessness determines what? Beginninglessness, endlessness. Also changelessness. Okay? Therefore we say, and this consciousness, what now? Aja, achalam. And what about Jagat? Now we say avastutvam. There is, first of all, you should prove there is universe, only if you can establish the existence of the universe, you can talk about the creation of the universe or the dissolution of the universe. There is no universe. Which means universe is means consciousness is, therefore universe is. There is no universe minus consciousness. Therefore, what is this universe? Universe is consciousness. Appearance of consciousness in motion. Therefore, what is this? Vijnanam, Shantam, Advayam, non-dual, secondless consciousness, which is of the nature of silence. Silence implies motionlessness. Some motion must be there for any time noise to come, isn't it? We don't say consciousness is silent. Is of the nature of silence means actionlessness, motionlessness, changelessness, silence are all synonyms. It is there. So now the same teaching. Therefore, let us conclude this verse now. Evam na jayate chittam, evam na jayate chittam, evam dharma ajasmritaha, evam dharma ajasmritaha, evameva vijananto, evameva vijananto, napatanti viparyaye, napatanti viparyaye. Evam, in this manner, chittam na jayate. Please remember, be careful when you are reading Gaudapada Acharya's Karikas. The word chittam, everywhere you understood the word chittam as memory, the mind, isn't it? Here the word chittam means consciousness. Chittam na jayate. Therefore, consciousness does not, what chittam na jayate means, there is no origination of consciousness. Consciousness does not originate, means does not give birth to anything, is not the cause of anything. And nor is there any effect which comes out of consciousness. Chittam na jayate. Therefore, evam dharmaha ajaha smritaha. Dharmaha. Dharmaha here means what? All the dharmaha here means all the jivaha. Okay? The so-called jivaha, all the individual beings and all the objects in the world, also what? Are not born. There is no creation of the individual beings. There is no creation of the objects. There is no creation of the universe. There is no dvaita prapanchaha. The word dharmaha ajaha smritaha means the beings of the universe are not born, means they have not originated. Why you cannot talk about their origination? They are not there. If something is in front of you, you can ask when did you buy, where did you buy, etc. It is not even there. How can, suppose somebody comes into your house and asks you, oh, it's very beautiful, where did you buy this? What are you asking about? You don't show this particular thing and you simply ask, where did you buy this? Where did you get it from? What do you ask me? Which do you mean? I'm simply asking you, where did you get this? You can't give an answer because that similarly, you cannot say, when did the universe originate? You cannot talk about because there is no Jagat. You cannot establish the very existence of the Jagat. There is universe. Before you were all telling, there is universe. Why? Samacharat, Upalambhat, because it is experienced, because it is useful, because I enjoy it, because it is within the realm of an order. Therefore it is. Now you have to say what? Jagat is not there. When it is not there, how can I talk about the creation of it? How can I talk about the playa of it, destruction of it, or deluge? Isn't it? Therefore, what he says is, Ajaha Amritaha Smritaha. Sorry, Amrita. Here, Dharmaha Amritaha Smritaha means all the beings here also what? Are not born. Nothing has originated from Brahman. And therefore, all these beings are not here unborn. Nothing is here, first of all. Which means the universe obtaining in the form of knower, known, division. With the division. Obtain, as a Dvaita Prapancha means what? The experiencer, there is experienced. This duality, world obtaining, of the knower and the known, is really not there. This resolved. Because there is no knower, there is no known. Other than the consciousness. Ajaha smritaha. Evameva vijanantaha. Therefore, when there is no birth of any being means, when you have resolved your identity in awareness as I am consciousness, and consciousness is the reality which does not originate, it is not born, and then you do not have the very first birth. Okay? When you do not have the very first birth, where is the question of you're talking about the rebirth? Where is samsara for you? The Vedanta Shastram does not free one from samsara. Vedanta Shastram frees one from the notion that one entertains what? I was born, I am going through Prarabdha, I have Sanchita Agami Karma, then I have what now? I am a samsari. That notion, Vedanta Shastram liberates you, frees you from the wrong notion that you entertain that I am a samsari. So freeing oneself from the notion, erroneous notion that I am a samsari is freedom from samsara. Understanding that there is no samsara is what? Attainment of samsara, freedom from samsara. Understanding there is no samsara, there is no birth, there is no death, there is no absolutely, for whom? Really, absolutely there is no birth. Why? I am consciousness. The secondless, non-dual reality. Now, no birth, no death. Understanding this fact is what? Attainment of immortality, attainment of freedom. So, freeing oneself from the wrong notion that I am a samsari, I was born, I am going to die, is actually freedom from samsara. So, Krishna, here Gaudapadacharya says, Evameva vijanantaha, understanding this fact of first birth being not there, therefore there is no second birth, there is no samsara. Understand this fact of samsara being not there, they do not fall into samsara. As long as you do not understand this fact that there is no samsara, you will be falling into samsara. Understand? Once you understand the fact that there is no samsara, then you are free from samsara. You do not understand the fact that there is no samsara, you are in samsara. Now, what is being bound by life of transmigration? or going through a transmigratory, beginningless, endless cycle of transmigratory life. Means what? Not understanding the fact that I am not born. Okay? I am born. I am a mortal. These wrong notions. Until and unless we correct the wrong notions, there will be samsara. Okay? Evam vijanantaha na patanti viparyaye. Again, they do not fall into this samsara. Viparyaha means samsara, which means what? As long they do not fall into this erroneous notion. See, samsara is entertainment of the erroneous notion due to the erroneous perception caused by ignorance is samsaraha. Okay, so resolving the wrong notions, the correcting one's perception, having a perspective change through knowledge, resolving ignorance is moksha. Okay, so here ends the teaching. What's going to come there again? What is going to come there also? The same teaching. What is the same teaching? All that is there is only Brahma. I am Brahma, therefore I am the whole. Which means there is no Jiva, there is no Ishvara, there is no Jagat, there is only Brahma. And I am the Brahma. I am Ahamidam Sarvam. When you say this statement, really you have to be very careful. You are not mechanically saying this. You are cognitively appreciating this fact of I cannot be resolved anywhere other than consciousness. Because everything you negated as object of your knowledge. Everything is evident to you. And you are self-evident. You are not evident to anything else in the world. Everything is evident. The gross objects are evident to you. Objects of perception are evident to you. The sense powers are evident. The thoughts are evident. All your emotions are evident. But you are self-evident. You know you are. And you know anger is everything. It is evident to you. You are self-evident. You know you are. And who are you who knows that you are? Who is that who knows I am? That self-evident you are consciousness. You have to, where can you belong yourself to? What is it? Where can you identify yourself with? Ahamidam Sarvam. And this teaching is going to continue again, which means it's going to again negate this prapancha. Because very difficult for us to say Jagat is not there. Isn't it? So forget about the creation and the dissolution of the universe. First of all, understand this fact there is no Jagat. Then you don't need to break your head to talk about the creation of it. Therefore, he is going to say, no, there is no Jagat. That he is going to teach using a different example. What is it? Not the dream example. We are tired of listening to the same old dream example. And Gaudapada Acharya ji gives a different example to establish the mithyatvam of the universe. That example he uses is a firebrand. It's called Sanskritam Alataha. Alataha means a firebrand. Today not even one Tamil person. Okay, Krishna Maraya is there. Teepandam. In Tamil we say Teevetti, Teepandam. In olden days, in the villages, when we did not have these torch lights, ancient days torchlight. I don't know whether in England you had torchlight those days, but in ancient days, I think everywhere before the discovery of electricity, there must have been only this firebrands, isn't it? The big, thick wood, a piece of wood, and then it's a big long wood where you can hold one side, you can use it as a handle to hold it. The other side, they roll lots of cotton, the cloth, a thick cloth, then they soak it in oil. It will be soaked in oil, then they will light the fire. Then what happened? And when they take it, they will go all over. That used to be the torchlight of those days. Because in darkness, how will you walk otherwise? Everywhere you had to walk means, to walk on the roadside, you had to take this. Olden days torchlight. That is called firebrand. Isn't it? That is called alataha. But with that alata, if you simply hold it, you can only see the big flame of fire glowing. But if you hold, suppose you're a very strong person, and the people know, you can use this alata, you can move your hands holding the alata, you can make as many designs as possible, as many patterns of designs as possible. You can form circle, you can form rectangle, the square, or any number of innumerable, countless designs or patterns you can make by moving your hand, holding the handle of the firebrand. And Pujya Swamiji likes this example of the incense stick. He likes that incense because easy, isn't it? Firebrand is big to hold, difficult. And then what they do, even as children, we all might have done. In puja room, every day we have to light the lamp, and before you conclude the puja, we use the incense stick and show it to Bhagavan and dhupam. We do offer the incense there. So the incense stick also has the glowing fire at one end. It's the tiniest, smallest substitute for the big firebrand with the glowing, there's a flaming fire. Here's a glow of light, glow of fire. So if you take it into a dark place where this utter darkness is there, and if you move your hand, you can make many patterns of designs. And here Gaudapada Acharyaji uses that alataha, and he takes alataha is likened to, compared to Brahma Chaitanyam, the consciousness Brahman. And the patterns and the designs caused by the movement of the hand are compared to the objects of the world. And the movement of isn't it? Movement of the hand is likened to the seeming motion happening in consciousness. Seeming motion appearing in consciousness, isn't it? So he uses the terms alataha, and then the movement is called spandanam. And all these different varieties of patterns of designs appear because of the movement of the hand are called abhasaha. Abhasaha is the appearance of designs and patterns. The patterns and designs which appear caused by the movement are called abhasaha, singular word. Abhasaha, plural. How many abhasaha? So many appearances. Appearance of so many designs. So abhasas are many. Countless abhasas you can make just by moving your hand. But how many the glowing fires are there? The very question is wrong. Fires we cannot even say. The glowing fire is ekam. Glowing fire is one. But the abhasas, the projections, the designs or patterns are in many countless. Abhasaha, Spandanam, Alataha. Remember these three words. Alataha, Spandanam, movement. Abhasaha, appearance of designs. So this glowing fire is one, and the designs are many. Glowing fire is self-luminous, whereas these designs, they glow, but there's no such thing called independently glowing, isn't it?
Right.
Therefore, they have what now? They shine after the glowing fire. Self-luminous, they are not self-luminous. They shine after the glowing tip of the fire. And here, because it is self-luminous, this is self-existent. The glowing tip of the fire is not dependent on the patterns that arise for its existence. It is self-existent. Because of its self-luminosity, it is self-existent. Whereas the designs and patterns, they cannot exist independently. No independent existence of their own without the glowing fire. They have dependent existence. The four factors you have to remember. This is one. Patterns are many. Alataha ekaha, abhasaha bahavaha. Many. And this is self-luminous. They shine after the self-luminous glowing tip. And this is self-existent. They have dependent existence. And here, therefore, we say this glowing tip of the fire is as good as the cause. The patterns and designs are as good as the effects. Now we have to extend this to Brahman and the objects of the world. Brahma Chaitanyam, the consciousness is one. The objects which are here experienced, or which are as good as the patterns or designs, caused by the movement of the Alata, or many objects. And consciousness is self-evident consciousness, self-revealing, whereas the objects shine after. So consciousness is of the nature of self-effulgence, whereas the world objects shine after the consciousness. And therefore consciousness, because it is of the nature of self-effulgence, consciousness is of the nature of self-existence, whereas objects borrow their existence from the consciousness, which means the objects of the world is dependent on consciousness for their existence. Now we say, therefore consciousness, Brahman, is as good as the cause. Initially we take it that way. And Jagat is as good as the effect, means we say Brahman is Satyam, Jagat is Mithya. With this understanding, we have to read these verses. Here, the Alataha, remember, when you hold this incense stick with a glowing tip, when you simply hold it, do you find the designs? The patterns are not there. Where are the designs? They are not there. But when do the designs appear? Only when there is a movement. If we stop, no design. If you move, designs come. If you stop, no designs. If you move, designs come. What are these designs then? Then the question might come. Do these designs, because you are experiencing the designs, The counting was a number of designs. First came surround, second, then came rectangle, then came square, then came hectic. We are counting also. Oh my God, the number of designs you count. My God, you will know there is no countability. All these designs and patterns you experience, you enjoy. But here we stop, designs go. Now the question comes, do these designs and patterns, where do they come from? Do they originate from the tip of the glowing tip of the fire? Or do they come from somewhere out and join the glowing tip? Where do they come from? From Brahman or from elsewhere? Two questions regarding their arrival. Then you have two questions regarding their departure. When I stopped moving, where do they go back to? Do they go back to the glowing tip of the fire? Or do they go and disappear elsewhere? Do they come from Brahman or do they come from elsewhere and join Brahman? Or do they go back to Brahman or do they go back to the glowing tip of the fire or do they go back elsewhere? The two questions regarding the arrival, two questions regarding their departure. Can you give an answer?
They come from the point.
They don't come over.
You cannot give an answer. Why? You stop the movement. You can talk about it only if they exist minus the glowing tip of the fire.
From the fire and go back.
You have to establish, okay, all the designs have come. If you say, be very careful. If you say, as all the designs have originated from the glowing tip of the fire, what I will do, okay, you please hold all the designs which have come from. I will take this glowing tip somewhere else and tell me how many designs you have. I'll ask you. The minus glowing tip of fire, 0 patterns. Therefore, they have not originated. They are not there. Because they are not there, minus glowing tip of fire, 0 designs and patterns. When 0 designs and patterns means, why should you talk about the coming origination of the designs and patterns? How can you talk about the origination? Where do they come from? They are not there. I have taken the glowing tip away. Now you tell me, count the designs and tell me how many designs are you holding on to now. I don't have any design now. Why? Because the glowing tip is not here, you will say. Which means there is no real designs and patterns. Even though so colorful and nice, like children, we all get carried away by those attractive designs and patterns. The minute you stop it, you take the glowing tip of the fire away, designs disappear. The designs are not there, then how can you talk about where they have come from? When you cannot talk about where they have come from, how can you talk where they have gone back to? Was it there first of all for it to have come? Was it there first of all for it to go back? They do not arrive, they do not go back. Why? Because the designs are not there. Then how are you going to account for the designs and patterns? So many designs, like kaleidoscope, isn't it? They're all nothing but motion in Alata. The designs are appearances caused by the motion, the movement of the Alataha. The movement of the firebrand caused the appearance of those designs. They are nothing but the appearance of the only reality, the Alataha, the glowing tip of the fire. Alata. Therefore, with reference to Alata, Alata is Satyam. All the designs are Mithya. Similarly here, Brahma Chaitanyam, the consciousness. Okay, only when the Alata is, movement of the Alata is there, designs are there. Alata's movement is not there, Alata is there. There are no designs. Similarly, when there is seeming motion, there is no real motion in consciousness. Okay, be careful. When there is seeming motion in consciousness, beautiful, colorful world of transaction. When there is no seeming motion in consciousness, the world disappears. You stop the Alataha, patterns disappear, designs disappear. Where? In the same way, the motion in seeming motion in consciousness is not there. The world also is not there. How can you understand this? What is seeming motion? In your mind, the vrittis, antakarana vrittis. Puja Swamiji beautifully will say in the class sometimes, come on, what is Jagat? It's all in your buddhi, it's all your mind. There is no Jagat outside your mind. When he says, no, he really, it's like the minute you get the vision there. The whole Jagat is not there in sleep for you. In deep sleep state, does the dream world appear for you? I don't even say exist, okay? Does the dream world appear for you in deep sleep state? No. Does the waking world appear for you in deep sleep state? No. Why? Because there is consciousness, stillness of consciousness. There is no seeming motion in consciousness. Why there is no seeming motion? There must be vrittis. There must be functioning of the mind is functional. When the vrittis rise, vrittis keep moving. The thoughts keep changing. When the thought, every thought which serves as a manifesting medium, the thought keeps changing. It looks as though consciousness also comes and goes, comes and goes. That is where the Yogacara Buddha got stuck. That's why he calls it what? Fleeting consciousness. In fact, what he calls as fleeting consciousness, we call as seeming motion, in motionless consciousness. The thoughts come, the movement of thoughts, it appears as though consciousness is in motion. It's typical, even if you keep your face firm like this, the mirror in front of you is moving like this. Imagine, like pendulum. The mirror in front of you is moving like this. your face reflected in the mirror will look as though it is moving. The reflection of your face also definitely will move if the mirror in front of you moves like a pendulum. Your reflection also, your face will also be moving. But your face is not moving. What is the reflection? Why my face, I don't move my face, but still why do I see the reflection of my face moving? Because the reflecting medium mirror is moving. Similarly here, the vrittis rise, vrittis keep moving. When the vrittis move, the consciousness manifest consciousness seems to be moving because of the movement of the thoughts. Understand? Therefore, when the vrittis are not there, mind is non-functional, vrittis are not there, then there is no manifestation of consciousness. Therefore, manifest consciousness is consciousness in seeming motion. Pure consciousness is stillness of consciousness. Consciousness is of the nature of stillness, always. There is no motion. But a seeming motion is caused by what? The rising and existing and the resolving of the thoughts. When the mind is functional, thoughts rise, then there is seeming motion, consciousness, the universe appears. She explains the world. When the mind becomes non-functional, thoughts resolve. The thoughts resolve. Thoughts remaining resolved, mind being non-functional is like what? Having the firebrand without moving. Mind being functional is like what? The movement of the firebrand. Really, the glowing tip is not moved, isn't it? Similarly here, consciousness is of the nature of stillness, motionlessness. But there is a seeming motion caused by the movement of vrittis. When the vrittis come, then the world appears. Vrittis resolve, world resolves. Therefore, what is this universe? Just as the designs and patterns are mere appearance of the motion, the movement of the one Alata, similarly, the whole innumerable countless objects constituting this universe is nothing but appearance of the seeming motion in motionless consciousness. The whole universe is consciousness in seeming motion. Therefore, there is no universe. There is no universe. Please go, have a tea, come back, we'll read the verses.